and welcome to the Habits and Home Show. I'm your host, Lisa Lazat, and I help busy moms bring order to their homes by downsizing and decluttering and ditching old habits in exchange for systems that bring peace and more enjoyment to their lives. If you're a mom trying to show the love of Jesus to your family, but the clutter in your home keeps you overwhelmed and frustrated, you have come to the right place. On this podcast, you will hear easy, step-by-step tips to declutter and create systems so you can keep your home organized and finally walk in the peace God has promised you. Need some accountability? I've got you covered there too. Join the Accountability Club, a community of like-minded mamas decluttering and systemizing our homes together. Are you ready, friend? Let's get started. Hey friends, and welcome to the show. I don't know if your kids are out of school yet, but mine have been out for an entire week, so this is our first week of summer. And there's always this adjustment period, like we're figuring out how to do life day in and day out, all day together again. My kids are figuring out what to do with themselves. They're figuring out how to live in the home while mom is working in the home. I actually kicked them out of the house for a couple of hours so I could record this podcast today because I told them I cannot think while y'all are home. Even when you're in the other room, they're playing video games, they're being loud, and I want all of that loudness. I want all of that noise. I want my house to be a home filled with noise. So I don't want to just tell them they can't ever be loud, they can't ever have fun, but mama does need some time to think. And so I kicked them out of the house. Thankfully, they're old enough where they can ride four-wheelers to their grandparents' house, which is about a mile away. And so I said, y'all need to either go outside or go find something to do with yourself. So they said, we're going to go to Nana and Papa's house down the road. Unfortunately, they don't have a pool there, but they do have a hot tub, which is kind of crazy. I don't know why my kids would get in a hot tub in the middle of summer, but they're craving some type of water activity. So sometimes they'll go down there in the evening times and get in their hot tub. It would be great if my in-laws had a pool. That would be great, but unfortunately they don't. So they go down there, they play basketball outside because they have a basketball goal set up, which we are setting up our basketball goals shortly. That's something that we felt was important to our teenagers, is providing them with activities that they can do outside. We want to get them away from the technology. We want to get them away from the video games and TV. So we've been slowly trying to acquire different outside activities. So started with dirt bikes and four-wheelers, and now we're getting, we just set up a carport, a covered carport, and we're going to have a basketball goal for the kids. And I'm sure that I will never get to park on the carport because they will always be moving my car out from underneath it. We would love to do a pool, but pools are really expensive right now. And we do live in Florida, and I don't know how anybody can live without a pool, but we have been living for quite some time without one. We've tried the little pop-up pools, but my kids are big now. They're teenagers. I mean, my middle child, he's almost 6 foot. That's weird to say. And I'm only 5'6". And so I'm the shortest person in my family now. And all my kids are taller than me. So those little pools just aren't working like they did when my kids were little. So all of you moms who have toddlers and babies, enjoy the little pop-up pools or the little plastic pools now, because your kids will be big one day, and either you will be trying to find a local pool or you might be installing one in your backyard. Thankfully, we've been able to avoid it. I would love to have one, but they are quite expensive right now. And I just don't really feel like they'll be used. It'll be used once the kids grow up. So that's just something that we haven't invested in. Not now, maybe in the future, maybe by next summer we might have one, but not right now. So I know when mine were little, if you do have toddlers, some activities that you can do with your kids, your toddlers when they're little, is a water table, and not the ones where you have to buy from the store. We actually used a shallow bin, like the ones you would slide under your bed to store like holiday or seasonal clothes and things like that. And I would just pull off the lid, and I had like this little plastic picnic table that we would use for homeschooling, and I would put that bin on top of that plastic picnic table, and that would be like their quote unquote water table, and we would do that for like a couple of hours right before nap time. And then after nap, when it's still warm outside, we would fill up the plastic pool outside, and we had like an outside little slide for them, and we'd let them slide into the water. Entertaining toddlers I feel like it was easy. It was so much easier. Like entertaining teenagers, yes, they can entertain themselves, but I feel like because I have this conviction about them being on their screens so much, it really bothers me. And I'm like, why can't y'all have the imagination that you did when you were toddlers? So there is this give and take, and I'm trying to be flexible with my kids. I'm also trying to do life with them, not be aggravated with them, and just doing life with them, doing life alongside of them, and providing those activities that get them away from their phones and get them outside and moving. Also, something else my husband has been doing the past couple of days is sending my boys, which are 12 and 14, he's sending them like a daily workout checklist. And I have been trying to get my boys to work out for years. And it's something about a man speaking into a boy's life. It takes it to a whole nother level. And they like want to make their dad proud, and they talk about it with each other. Like they say, oh, I've done, half of my checklist. How much do you have left? And so I text my husband today. I said, hey, and this was not my idea. My husband came up with this on his own, even though there's so many things that I want to say, hey, can you do this with the boys? Can you do it? Thankfully, he came up with this on his own. And so I text him and I say, and sometimes as wives, sometimes we can't ask our husbands to do these things. But when we do see the things that we like, our position and how we can support that quote unquote like good behavior is just to encourage them, just to see what they are doing and affirm their actions. Sometimes we, as women and as wives and as moms, we see so many things that are good for our kids, and we want our husbands or their dads to participate in and guide and lead them, but it has to be their idea sometimes. And so our position has to come from a place of encouragement and affirmation and support rather than nagging them or telling them what to do. My husband doesn't necessarily he'll be on board with any idea, but I feel like if it's his idea, he's more likely to follow through than me coming up with this good idea. And the same goes with decluttering, friends. You are probably listening to this podcast because this is a topic that is important to you, but it's not necessarily important to your spouse. And so sometimes we jump ahead and we want to start decluttering other people's stuff. And we really need to focus on our own systems and our own clutter and our own stuff first, and then allow our spouses to see how it's benefiting us and let it be their idea to get on board with those things. So that's just kind of like a little side note for you. So speaking of summer, I feel like summer is a really good time to declutter your home, to get it more organized, maybe taking it to that next level, whatever level that looks like for you. Y'all, we are all on different levels in our decluttering journey. So even, and don't worry about what it looks like on the outside appearance from other people's eyes. Focus on how it makes you feel. What is your level of organization? So summertime is a good time to take it to that next level of organization. Summer is also a good time to maybe refine your systems, or if you don't have any systems at all, putting those systems in place. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You might be thinking, hey, Lisa, what are you even talking about? Summer is super busy. The kids are home and I can't even finish a cup of coffee, much less declutter a closet. right? Yeah, summertime is busy. I want to push back on that thought for just a moment because I actually believe that summer is the best time to get organized in your home. There's a completely different vibe. Yes, it's a little noisier, and yes, your kids might be asking you for snacks and for food all the time. But even with all of that chaos, the pace of summer is so much different. There's margin here that doesn't exist during that school year time. Things that I can recall right now that I'm like looking forward to not doing is packing lunches every morning. I'm not doing that. So yay, I get to sleep in a little bit longer, set my alarm clock a little bit later. Another thing is you're not racing out the door to get your kids to school on time. And you're not staying up late and struggling and battling with your kids to do their homework. So summer, though you might be busy, you're just busy doing different activities. You're busy doing pretty much like optional activities, things that you choose to do rather than things that you're obligated to do during the normal school year. So during the summer, life just feels a little bit more laid back. And with that laid back, loosened up schedule comes space. The kind of space that lets you take a deep breath and reset. Some people say that summertime is the halfway new year, right? So you have your new year, January 1st, and you have this different mindset that comes with the new year. You're refreshed, you want to start over, you want to declutter, you just have this feeling and this encouragement and this aspiration to reset your home and to declutter and to refresh. I feel like June 1st is the second new year. And so with that laid back season, I feel like it's a really good time to declutter the extra in our home that we know we don't need, that we're fed up with, that we got really frustrated with during the school year. It's time to get organized. It's time to simplify, and it's time to put systems in place before life speeds up again. So instead of like scrambling when school starts back, you're going to approach the school year feeling so much more calm. You're going to feel prepared, and it's going to be supported by the routines and the systems that you put into place and were able to practice during the summertime when life wasn't as hectic, okay? So as you're looking around your home, I know you're probably like, okay, yes, Lisa, that sounds great. I want to get organized this summer. I'm all on board. But with all the clutter and everything that you need to do, you're probably already overwhelmed. You're like, okay, that sounds great, but my head is spinning. I'm bouncing from room to room, not really accomplishing anything. So I want to take a moment right now to share with you 5 things that I want to encourage you to focus on for this summer. Just 5. Take these 5 things, write them down. If you're on my newsletter, you don't even have to write them down because they're going to be delivered to your inbox this weekend. Okay, so these 5 things I want you to focus on. Even when I'm coaching with my one-on-one clients, I have to rein it in because they will start squirreling everywhere. And I say, okay, here is our focus. Let's get back on topic. Let's get back on task. This is your focus for the week. When you start feeling pulled to do other things, because when we get on this mindset of decluttering and organizing, we start seeing other areas in our home that need to be decluttered, organized, and systemized. And so it's really easy to get distracted. And so what I do with my clients is we have a focus project for our call, and then I text them what their focus is for this week. Do not get distracted by other things outside of this main checklist. Yes, work on maintaining your daily life through your daily systems that you already have established. Yes, keep those up. But when it's the project or when it's the habits that we want to establish, narrow your focus and stay focused on this. So if you are just a podcast student of mine, I want you to narrow your focus this summer on these 5 things. Number 1, I want you to fine-tune your time and your task management system. Use this summer when it is less busy to practice your revised system. Now, what does that even mean? Time management and task management systems. Well, first of all, do you even know what a system is? A system is the process we go about managing and getting things done. Think of like a project manager, how they go about, they have like a checklist of how they go about to get a project done. Your time management is how you manage your time. How do you look at your day? How do you break it down? How are you going to manage the time that you are awake? Right? And then your task management goes right along with that. Okay, these are the blocks of your day, and these are the tasks that you need to get done. These are the tasks you want to get done. Now, how do we fit them into those nice, clear time management blocks? So it's really a good time when life is not hectic. And I say hectic and busy. Now, it is busy because like I said earlier, you're busy doing all the fun things and the optional things. But when it's a time that you're not doing things that you are obligated to do, take the time to refine your time management system. Now, if you have no clue, you don't even know where to start when you're thinking about putting in place a time management system, a task management system, I will be covering this inside the Accountability Club in the month of June. We are taking all of the month of June to talk through our individual days, what that looks like, how we need to break up our days into blocks so we can actually think about where to put these tasks that need to get done. And we're going to use the entire month to practice that time management system. So if you need some accountability, first of all, if you need somebody to walk you through this and setting up your time management system, and then you need the accountability, someone to come alongside of you, check in with you, encourage you to use that time management system on a regular basis, then I do want to encourage you to get inside the Accountability Club. It's a great place for all of those things because sometimes we don't have trouble creating the system, but actually following through with it and disciplining ourselves to keep going with that system on a weekly basis, like not just for 1 week, but for multiple weeks so that it becomes habit. That's where we fall short. So if you need that extra accountability, then you can hop inside the Accountability Club for the month of June. Okay, number 2 that I want you to focus on this summer is sorting through your kids' clothes, decluttering what they've outgrown, and make a list for clothes you need to buy them before the next school year. This is something else that we're covering in the Accountability Club for the month of July. We're taking all of July, narrowing our focus on just our kids' clothes, going through drawers, going through closets, decluttering, talking about how many clothes our kids actually need. That's a question that comes up a lot in my one-to-one coaching is how many clothes do my kids actually need? There's also some grace that comes with that you might not be expecting that I might say to you, because a lot of people think that I'm going to say, oh, you need to have a capsule wardrobe. Your kids don't need a lot. Friends, I don't coach from that mindset. I coach from a place that, hey, what feels good for you? What feels right for you? What is right for your capacity of life? What is right for your kids' individual capacity? For instance, my daughter, who is 16, she is completely independent, manages all her clothes, makes decisions to declutter her clothes on her own. She is very gifted and very skilled in that area. My boys, on the other hand, again, they are 12 and 14, they don't think about decluttering clothes ever. Now, my 12-year-old, he will throw clothes down from upstairs, down to our floor downstairs, and he will say, I've grown out of this. I can't wear it. I don't want it in my drawer. My 14-year-old, no, things would probably just pile up, and he would just not think to remove it from his drawer. He would just leave it there even if it didn't fit him. He would just know, oh, that doesn't fit me, but he would not think to remove it from his drawers. So I want to encourage you, whether you hop inside the Accountability Club and do this with us or not, After you have, and maybe not after, you just decide what works better for you. If you want to focus on your time management system first, I do think that that's a great place to start. That way you have all of the summer to practice it. You have, probably like 8 to 9 weeks to practice a time management system. So whatever task you decide to do first. However, I do encourage you that your kids' clothes is something that you should go through and declutter, sort through, make a list of what you need to purchase for them. Some of us just take our kids to the store with us because we know it's a new school year and we get new clothes for them without taking inventory of what the kids actually need, what they have in their closets, what they have in their drawers. And so this is a good time to set aside time to pull everything out in a systemized way. I do coach you through this, and I do encourage you to reset their bedroom. First of all, make their beds. Second of all, reset their bedrooms. Don't make chaos in an even more chaotic situation. Don't try to declutter their clothes if their rooms are a complete disaster. Reset their bedroom, give yourself a clear workspace so that you can think, so that you're not stepping on things, and then pull out the dresser drawers, pull out the closet clothes, one group at a time, and sort through those items. So on piggybacking off of that focus task for this summer, I want to encourage you, number 3, to get more consistent with your laundry system and take the time to teach your kids how to do their laundry. Now, this can start, I do believe that this process of teaching our kids can start as early as like 4 or 5 years old. And I know you might be thinking, no, not my kid. Well, of course, we have to take into consideration each of our kids' individual abilities, but I do believe that little kids can be brought in the process of doing laundry. And here's some ideas. The first thing that kids can learn is where to put their dirty clothes. And when I teach my clients to formulate and to put together a laundry system, I do encourage them to give each person a basket in their home. Like each person has their own individual basket where their dirty clothes are collected. So if you have little ones, as far as 3, 4, 5 years old, how you bring them into learning to do their own laundry is first teach them where to put their dirty clothes. And like I said, give them their own dirty clothes basket. The next step that you could teach them is bringing their dirty clothes down to the laundry room, down to wherever your washer is. That's just a basic step that we might not be teaching our kids specifically is, okay, how do I pick it up? How do I bring it down? What does that look like? And what the attitude that I have when I'm bringing it down? Am I making sure that I'm not dropping clothes on the way of bringing it down to the laundry room? So that is a very basic step that you can teach. You can teach a 4-year-old. You can teach an 18-year-old if they don't know how to bring their clothes down from where they have collected their dirty clothes. The next step is, okay, which one is the washer? Which one is the dryer? Okay, putting their clothes into the washing machine, into the correct machine. And then how much of the detergent to add in? Do we add it into the drawer? Do we dump it right on top of the clothes? Like break down these steps and slowly teach your children, coming alongside of them, how to do their laundry. Any habits that you want to teach your kids, any skills that you want them to take on and grow and to learn as they grow, I always follow the I do, we do, you do formula. So in the I do step is you say, look at me, look how I do this. I am doing this. This is how you are to do it. Then in the we do step, in the we do stage, you are in this stage for a very, very long time, maybe years, where you are doing chores, doing tasks alongside of your kids. So depending on their capability, depending on how much scaffolding they need, you are doing clothes, doing laundry with your kids. And then when you see that they are starting to evolve and grow and mature, then you now have gotten to the I do stage, or the you do stage, which they are able to do on their own. And you can trust that they are going to complete that task from start to finish completely on their own. Now, I will say we have finally arrived in my mothering and my parenthood where my kids, 12, 14, and 16, are all doing their laundry on their own. And my position, my involvement in this task, in this chore, is to remind them that it is their day of the week to do their laundry. And maybe I have to remind the boys to go back and switch their clothes from the washer to the dryer. And I might have to remind them to get them out of the dryer and then go put them away. My daughter, like I said, she's completely independent on her own. She feels compelled to go and complete every step of her laundry. My boys, they're somewhat in the we do phase, but they're also in the you do phase where they're able to do it all on their own, and they don't need my hands-on support, but they do need the mental support and the reminding support. So that's how I am leading and guiding them through the laundry process. Okay, so back to establishing first your laundry system. If you are struggling with laundry, you need to break it down. And I do have a podcast episode. I won't go into it right in here, but I do have a podcast episode where I break down the laundry system and creating your laundry system, how you go about doing it, setting up your schedule. And if you know that you're not going to do that on your own and you do need the accountability, like I said, you can work with me one-on-one for that accountability and for me to help you walk through your setting up your laundry system, getting clarity over it. Or if that's something you want to discuss with me in the accountability club, we do have 2 coaching calls a month and you can ask me on one of those calls. All right, moving on to the number 4 project that I want you to focus on in summer is decluttering one room at a time, okay? Going through your house, maybe you draw a map and you label the map with each room of your house, going through each room of your house and decluttering each room as you go. Do not try to declutter your whole house at one time. Really, maybe take 1 week per room to declutter. And I want you to be brutal. I want you to be brutal. If things have been bothering you, if the clutter has bothered you all throughout the school year, be brutal and go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off and say, okay, I need to let some things go that are unnecessary. They're just fluff. They're just things that I have been piling up. I need to finally take those things to donation. I need to drop them off, load up your car. That's something that I encourage my clients to do is as they declutter, as they fill up bags of donation, take it right to your car. Now, I know some of you are going to push back and you say, well, then it's going to live in my car for several weeks. Well, you kind of got to get over that. You just got to take it. You got to take it and you got to drop it off. Maybe you don't put it in the back of your car. Maybe you put it in the passenger side of your car. But you have to take it. You have to put on your big girl panties, your big girl pants, and you have to drop off the stuff to donation. And if you can't, find somebody in your life that can do that for you. Now, if it just completely overwhelms you, if you are like top to bottom, you've been hoarding for years, okay, you are a special case and it's just overwhelming, then I say fill a bag. Fill a bag, make a dent in the inventory in your home. Maybe you don't go room to room, but you just fill a bag. Maybe for every week of the summer, you just say, I'm going to fill a bag. I'm going to fill a bag, a trash bag of stuff, and I'm going to drop it off at donation. And the more and more you do that, you are flexing that muscle. You're flexing that decluttering muscle. And maybe the second week that you're doing this, you actually fill 2 bags. That's what happens with some of my one-to-one clients is they might have so much inventory in their house that I tell them, okay, we're going to we're just going to downsize the inventory instead of going room to room. We're going to downsize the inventory and we're just going to fill a bag, 1 bag. And by the time we have our next call, they text me and they say, I filled 3 bags because they have flexed that muscle. They've gotten started. Task initiation is typically their hardest thing to do. But once they get going, it's like a snowball effect. It just kind of like the snowball starts out really small. And then as it runs down the hill, it gets bigger and bigger. You're going to feel that way once you start that practice of filling a bag. So you decide what works better for you. Depending on the inventory of your house, if you have a lot, do a fill a bag challenge, 1 bag a week during the summer. Or if you don't have as much inventory, go room to room. Or maybe you've been a part of the accountability club or have done some coaching with me before, and you're just doing another refresher, taking things a level deeper in your organization inside your house. And so you don't have the bulk or the inventory that you used to have, and now you're just going back and kind of looking over and seeing, okay, what more can I get rid of? I had my friend tell me one time of this man who sold everything. Now, this is extreme. He sold everything that he had and he traveled the world, and everything that he needed was in a backpack. And I was like, oh my gosh. Well, obviously I have kids. He didn't. But I thought he can live with just a backpack. Okay, I can live with a lot less stuff in my house. Now, I don't take it to that extreme, but I always keep that in the back of my mind. Backpack mentality. What do I really need to survive? So maybe find something for you that just kind of like challenges you and pushes you and be like, okay, Lisa, what do you really need to survive? Okay, do you really need that item? No, let it go, because you just keep moving it around your house. All right, let's wrap up this podcast with the fifth one. Number 5, after you have decluttered or in the process of decluttering, I want you to create systems slowly. This is not a race, because if you are fast to create new systems and you're always trying to create new habits and you're always adding, it is going to feel overwhelming, and nothing is going to have deep roots. Nothing is going to have deep roots. It's all going to be like the seed that was planted on the dry ground or on the rocks that the sun came out and it withered away. You want to plant in good soil. And good soil happens when we take the time and we let things marinate and we let the systems, like one system at a time, we get really good at it. And I know this is hard. It takes discipline because we want to be so far ahead. We want to be so far further along in our life, and we want to get better at all these skills and routines and systems, right? But we're never going to have the well-established systems and routines if we don't take it slow. So I want you to create your systems slowly. And I've shared on the podcast so many times before where I started with systems. Y'all, I started with just emptying my kitchen sink at night. That is the very first, I would say, quote unquote, system when I had this aha moment. I'm like, oh, systems. Okay. And so I created that one system, the one thing I'm going to tell myself I'm going to do. Every single night before I go to bed, I am going to make sure my kitchen sink is empty. Y'all, in the beginning, I would spend like 2 hours and I would get distracted. I would be on my phone. I would be, texting somebody or scrolling on social media, standing there in my kitchen. And it would take me like hours to reset my kitchen. And I got so sick of it. I got so sick of my bad behavior that I was like, I am done. I'm done with myself. And so I got faster and faster and faster. And now I refuse. I absolutely refuse to spend hours resetting my kitchen. And so I try to keep my kitchen sink empty all the time, all throughout the day, instead of letting it pile up. But that was my very first system. My very first system is making sure I have a nightly reset of emptying my kitchen sink. Establishing that one system gave me the capacity, the mental capacity, the physical capacity to create more systems in my life. And now my whole home, all throughout my home, there's so many systems that just happen naturally. They're habit. I don't even have to think about them, but there was always that foundational system. And I want you, if you have no systems in your life, if you have absolutely none, your home, your life is completely chaotic, focus on one system, whatever that is. I would personally say it's your dishes, because that is going to happen every single day. Make sure your dishes are reset at the end of the day. And that's going to just lead to so much. Just trust the process. I know it sounds crazy. How can resetting your dishes every night lead to a less cluttered, less hectic life? I promise it will. Is if you are at the very beginning, start with clearing your kitchen sink every single night. So number 5 is create systems slowly and give yourself time to practice them so that they become habit. All right, friends, I'm going to go back over those 5 things in case you want to write them down, what I want you to focus on in the summer. Number 1, fine-tune your time and task management system. Number 2, sort through your kids' clothes, decluttering what they've outgrown and making a list of what they need before school starts. Number 3, get more consistent with your laundry system and teach your kids what that system is. Number 4, declutter 1 room at a time or fill a bag, 1 bag a week during the summer. Number 5, create systems slowly and give yourself time to practice. Now, if you need accountability and coaching through all of that this summer, you can either hop inside the Accountability Club. In the month of June, we are covering time management systems. In the month of July, it's going to be decluttering and systemizing our kids' clothes. And then in August, we are covering our back to school systems and how we manage our school day. Now, if you are not a groupie, if you're not a group person, I'm personally not a group person. I like individual attention. I like to talk about my own stuff. I want an entire hour. Then I also offer one-to-one coaching. And you can find all of those resources and links below this podcast. All right, friends, make sure you join the newsletter if you haven't already, and I will see you right here next time on the Habits and Home Show. Hey, friend, before you go, I wanted to tell you more about the Accountability Club. Each month, we'll tackle a new space in our homes and work together to declutter and set up systems so we can easily maintain order without getting overwhelmed. You'll get a new decluttering tutorial each month, the coaching and accountability you need to actually follow through, and encouragement without judgment from other Christian moms in a safe environment. And guess what? The entire club is off of social media, so you don't have to worry about distractions the world may throw at you. Sweet friend, if you're feeling stuck in your decluttering journey, this is the place for you. Click the link below to try out the Accountability Club and start decluttering today.